So as promised in the book reading portion, I think I will do 1 hour of the log. But before we switch to some book reading, I want to share with you guys what I did this afternoon, this evening dinner. So some of you have already seen it, and I've shared it, but as I've said in the past, I am El Salvador in Central, and sometimes we cook traditional food from El Salvador. And tonight, my mom quesadilla salvadoreña, which is unlike the Mexican quesadilla that most not two pieces of tortilla smushed together over melted cheese, but there is cheese in our quesadilla. So it's a very simple sweet cheese bread that we make. And Albert, thank you for making correlation. But this is cornbread in the south. So it's very, very soft and fluffy. And we use usually it's just like flour with leavening. So since we love to make pancakes in the house, we like the Bisquick mix because it already has that leavening in it, as well as sour cream. If it has a little bit of milk, it definitely has sour cream, egg for binding, sugar, and Parmesan cheese. It could have like some queso fresco as well, but for this one it just has Parmesan cheese, which is the part that makes it a sweet cheese bread, and sprinkle some sesame seeds top and put it in the oven. And once you cut into it, this is where it looks like a nice soft and fluffy cornbread. Like the texture of it is really nice and very sweet. So we made dessert first, but then Mom and I got busy and we made some Salvadorean pupusas. So they start out looking like our tortillas. So we don't have the big flat corn tortillas that the Mexicans have, because if you ever go to a Mexican restaurant and they have the press for the tortillas, they're big enough to wrap a burrito in for most part, or they're the size of your plate. Our tortillas are not big. They're probably the size of your hand, and they're very thick because we make them thick. But instead of just being made of corn dough or masa, as we call it, our tortillas are stuffed with cheese, they are stuffed with beans, or they're stuffed with chicharrones, and cheese. I personally am a fan of the cheese and beans, or just, and stuff the tortillas, you pat them back into a little ball, then you flatten them a little, not too much. They're about, I want to say maybe a centimeter or like a quarter of an inch thick, and then you put them on a plancha, an iron skillet. Like we were trying out the center of the stove because it has a nice little iron plank where you could do some grilling, and we usually like some salmon steaks grilled on there. But usually my mom just uses the iron skillet where she makes the tortillas. So you kind of see the one on the top right over here. already sort of see that the cheese is starting to kind of out on the bottom. And I have no problem with that, because when the cheese starts going out, the kind of like oil from the cheese coats that bottom side of the tortilla, and you know, makes the pupusa kind of crunchy. Like crunchy cheese is always good, and you get the cheese full porn on these when you open them. They'll all look kind of white, starting at the beginning. Now once you turn them over and you flip them, they start to get kind of like big in the center. They start blowing up in the center, so you know like the inside is cooking, and that's when you know it's time to flip over, and you can see like a little bit of the gold toast on the bottom side, and also all the places where the cheese has started to come out. Yeah, it's like my favorite part when the cheese comes out. So we're not coating these completely in oil because we're trying to be healthy and avoid the super greasy food at restaurants. Might get these just slathered, covered in lard, so they're going to be much browner, much more oily. Ours are not. Please, you know, this is the third attempt of us making pupusas in the house. I did it maybe a year or two ago, and it's a good thing I didn't stream. I was cursing up a storm trying to get it to cook properly. Mostly my pain is because I have hand pain. I can't form the balls of the masa and shape them. You know, get that little frisbee shape that they're supposed to get. My mom is more adept with her hands than I am. 30 years of working at a candy factory, so she knows how to use her hands very fast and very well. So my masa was breaking. It was probably too dry, and it dries out quickly. You have to coat your hands in water to keep the dough moist. Couldn't shape them fast enough. So once you make the basic tortilla shape, you flatten it out probably as big as your hand, and you put the little bit of cheese, or you put the little bit of cheese in the bean, or the bit of cheese and chicharrones, and then you close your hand so it becomes like a cup. And then very similar to the way that some Asian cultures make their dumplings, so they have the dumpling dough, the dumpling pasta, and then they put the filling, the pork filling. Close your hand, and then you slowly start to rotate that little ball and start sealing the edges as you go until you get one tight little ball with like a nut on the top, and sealing it. You're constantly wetting your finger so that dough doesn't crack. Once you get that closure, that top, then you can start forming the ball again in your hand. And then once you have the ball, then you start to flatten it out slowly, so you're kind of rotating it in your hands, sealing the edges, and forming that little disc as you go. Then once that's done, that's when you plop it on the iron skillet, and then smush it down in the center. Make sure spread out the sides, make it very flat, because as soon as it starts to cook, if they're not flattened out, they kind of start to retract a little because they lose all the moisture that you put into them. And then you just wait for the magic to happen. So we ended up with 2 different types, and there's still some cooking here on the bottom corner. So we ended up having a few that were made just cheese, so they're much lighter in color, and then the ones on the left plate were mix of cheese as well. We haven't graduated to adding the meat, the pork, the chicharrones into them. Eventually we will. But for now, baby steps. I am looking forward next week when I fly home to try these, because they do taste good, and the difference in the ones over there is they put loroco in their cheese, which is like a local flower, like a little green bud, and it smells wonderful. It has an amazing taste, and a lot of our cheese, traditional national cheese, has that mixed to the cheese curd, and it's very fragrant and just very tasty. We can't really get that here in the United States. You can buy, if you go to Mexican stores, you can buy it frozen, but once you freeze something that's supposed to be consumed fresh, it's not quite as well. These are pupusas. Yeah, these are traditional pupusas from El Salvador. So I've tried cooking, like I went to go buy the little loroco buds and see if I can picture for you guys. You want me to send you some? Here we go. So this is the loroco plant, the loroco bud. So it's these tiny little green things. The blossoms is what we cut and put in these. And they smell amazing. The people here, like I said, they'll go to supermarkets, they'll get the frozen stuff, and they will cheat because they don't have loroco, and they will just cut up little bits of green pepper and put it into the. Do not be fooled, people, because it is not. It may look like loroco, but it is. These are the frozen ones you can buy. Usually, like Pyramid Foods has a lot of the ethnic foods, but it is not, and should not be confused. So this is what it looks like pupusas with the cheese and then the loroco. It's kind of, and even though I had some to I had two with just cheese, and then looking at this is still hungry. Here you can see like all the buds together, and it's before they open. So before they open into the flower, it's just the closed that we use. And then you can also get it. Goya is another brand that has ethnic, and they're kind of, if not pickled, there might just be water. Oh, see, you know Goya. Goya has a lot of really good ethnic foods for children. No, they're not pitas. These are not Greek. These are Salvadorean pupusas. So the difference with pita bread, it's basically they cook it like a tortilla, but it's hollow because of the leavening they use. Guten Morgen, Jay. Willkommen. So they cook it like a tortilla, but once the pita bread is cooked, it has a pocket. That's why they call it a pita pocket. Tortillas don't have that pocket, so we don't stuff them after they're cooked with what we're cooking into tortillas. So we put the cheese, we put the beans, we put the chicharrones, tortillas, and it just gets closed up and cooked that way. So Jay, you came after we finished our German and our Spanish and our Catalan section of Duolingo, or Triolingo, as I'm calling it. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I have the chill channel on the Pretzel Rocks. I figure that's conducive to learning languages and having them stick in your brain. So I'm sharing with the class what I had for dinner, what we made for dinner today. Yes, thank you, Redemption. I'll switch over to it shortly. We'll come back to the food after running foul. I don't want to keep you guys waiting too long. Yay, Panov, you have a matching kitty but in the Christmas lights. Alright, good luck. Oh no. Bad feeling, guys. Yikes. Did not make this one, unfortunately. They bested us. But here's a salvage chest for you. But worry not. We will try this again because it is a token chest. Want those tokens. And sadly, I think Calbert went to bed. It's 5:30 almost for him. Didn't make it to the token. Okay, I have another paladin, and I should. It has. Okay. First, get through that one. I believe I had an to upgrade, yes. Road to upgrade. Back to the tasty food. So this is what we did tonight. We did do some preparation. So we made homemade salsa and homemade curtido. to go along with the pupusas, which is the traditional dressing for them. So the salsa, you know, kind of the same way you make Italian sauce from tomatoes. We got tomatoes from our garden because we still have like a few remnants of the baby cherry tomatoes, and it was the last batch. So we mushed them and we cooked them, let them simmer and render, put all the spices into it. I'm not gonna give away my mom's secret salsa ingredients because she will kill me. She doesn't want it replicated. But you know, you can understand that from a lot of Italian mothers who want to keep their tomato sauce recipe quite proprietary. And then a curtido, which say, if you know, in Germany you're familiar with the sauerkraut, this is our version of sauerkraut. So it is cabbage, there is carrots, sometimes we put onions in there. So while it's not pickled in brine per se, it is cooked in vinegar, and this one took about 3 days, but the longer, especially with anything that's pickled, the longer you leave it in the mixture, the more cabbage and the vegetables will absorb. So after 3 days, this was very tasty, but the cabbage was still very crunchy. So depending on your gusto, on your taste, if it's al dente enough and you want that crunch, or you want it to be a little softer, a bit more pickled, it's fine. We use the red and purple cabbage, which is why it has that tinge to it. Otherwise, you could just use regular cabbage to make sauerkraut. I'm trying to remember what the English equivalent is for sauerkraut, and I know that there's a word. It's not relish. But there's something, and maybe if you know it, what I'm thinking of, it's like you put it on the hot dogs. Oh no, you put sauerkraut on the hot dogs. It's escaping me at the moment. So this is salsa and curtido, which is the sides, or what we dress the plate of pupusas with, and I'll show it in the next slide. So basically it's like pickled cabbage in vinegar and tomato sauce, slightly hot. You know, put some zing, put some pepper in there. And Halbert, you're asleep, but if you watch the VOD, this jar, this plastic jar, I gave it to my mom once I finished it. This houses my usual lychee jelly cups. This one had an assorted one of multiple flavors, but this is not how it comes. Although I'm sure you could go to the store and buy a big jar of sauerkraut, you know, depending on the kind of store you go to. So, you know, we repurposed the jar that I gave my mom because it was big enough to hold all the curtido. So we prepped this ahead of time. that way you're not working yourself to the bone the night you actually cook it. And then this is the finished product. So this was me trying the first one. I will admit it, this is the first attempt I made to cook it in the air fryer, thinking, oh, it'll be like, just put a little bit of oil on it. Did not work. I had to take it out of the air fryer and then put it on the stove and put it on the skillet so it would cook like the rest of them. So I'm hiding a little bit of my work on there. I was not happy with the first one, but it looked great because the cheese had melted and come out on the side. So it was nice and crunchy. So you open it, you do that pull like we saw in the previous picture. Yeah, so you split it open and all the cheese comes out, so you get that cheese pulled corn. And then you put some of the salsa on it, the tomato sauce. I am not a fan of heat, and Laura wants to take away my Latina card for that. You can make it as hot as you want, as hot as your stomach, as hot as your taste buds will accept. I want savory, I want spicy, I don't want heat. And then you also dress it with a curtido with the sauerkraut. And it's clearly some of the family had already gotten to the cheese ones. I hadn't gotten to the cheese and bean ones, or frijoles as we call it. That was the first one. This is the second one I grabbed from the queso and frijoles, from the cheese and beans pile. It looks a little bit better, but I love the way the curtido looks because it's so bright and red and but this is, like I said, this is just the homemade stuff. So let me show you guys. Some people, yeah, so we have frijoles, beans, or how you say in Tagalog, frijoles. Yeah. So some people, I mean, they go to town. I mean, if you put loroco in the queso, it's not just in the queso. Like, probably dress it on top. It'll be like super fancy. Here's another traditional way to dress it. You'll put the little sauce on the side and the curtido as well on the plate for presentation. String beans, Filipino. In Spanish, string beans are ejotes. In French, it's haricot vert, I believe. I know, if you're still with us. Apparently, Guatemala also makes pupusas. We also know the joy. Here's another version of a lot of loroco and their cheese. Just cheesy and loroco. One, two, three, four, five. This is a stack of 5, and usually an order amounts to about a stack of 5. And in the background, you can kind of see the jar of the curtido. Theirs is a more reddish sauce because the curtido also has like the chili or the spice in the vinegar. So it's not just the salsa, but the curtido as well can be hot, spicy. Oh my god, god, this is just oozing cheese. I'm getting a heart attack just looking at it. But I'm sure it's super tasty. And in the back, you can kind of see it's in French. Oh no, so it's actually bought pupusas. So in French it says pupusa de fromage avec loroco. So it's cheese pupusas or pupusas with cheese with loroco. Loroco and cheese pupusa. And here's cheese pulled porn that people enjoy, because that's the joy of it when you cut them apart and you see how cheesy they are. Oh my god, this is in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Nice to know that we have some in up north. Yeah, this is traditional, how you usually see it in a restaurant. The hot red sauce and the curtido, and you can kind of see the sliced carrots or peeled carrots that you put into it. God, this is just in green. It's all a little cool. But yeah, if you have an ethnic food market, you can definitely see. This is good. This is good. You can see all the crusty cheese that has melted on. That's how you know. And you can see that they've also used just a plain white cabbage, so it doesn't have color, but it's still, you know, still curtido. It's still sauerkraut. And these people have done what we've done. They've used the red cabbage or the purple cabbage to make their curtido. They've added more. They've added some jalapeno to it because it's not hot enough. It's not pita bread, Suyan. This is not Greek food. This is a pupusa. We're in El Salvador cuisine. Oh, here we go. This is what I'm talking about. This is the technique. You pound the masa, get the little ball, and then you make like a little cup in your hand. You stuff it to the gills full of cheese, and I think that's what we're not doing. We're not putting enough cheese in it because it just doesn't fit. And I think they're using probably the same amount of masa and just pulling it really, really thin. Make sure it covers all the cheese. Then you put it on the skillet. But I was very afraid of having it crack and then all the cheese goes out. But I realized the first time I did them when I was cursing up the storm. Yes. Yes, it's a food festival. But I don't mind the masa breaking and the cheese going everywhere. It actually makes it so much better. Like you can kind of take it's a little cracked over here. Yes, Suyen, I have eaten pita before. It is nothing like this. Want to make it clear. Keep calling it pita, but it's not pita. These are pupusas. Completely different food. And here they're kind of using the same iron skillet to cook them on. Yes, this is a plate for one person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pupusas on a plate. This person is gonna go. Yes, we're having a food festival panel. We're getting ready to have your breakfast. Are you eating your croissant now? Panel mange un croissant maintenant? Here we go. I want to see this cheese. I can't quite make it out. The queso fresco. I eat it both ways, so I'll have it with salsa and curtido, but I will also put crema or cream fraiche on the pupusas. But the cheese, the freaking cheese, is a secret mix of good melty cheese, good savory zesty cheese, and good filler cheese. So I'm still working on my proprietary cheese mix to put into it. So this one kind of gives you the basic recipe. So you get the masa, the cornmeal, water, put some beans, package of tropical fresh cheese from Central America crumbled. You know, we're trying. We're testing a lot of cheese mixes. But I hope it's making you hungry, panel, so you can enjoy your breakfast all the more. Okay, about 40 minutes ago I said I was gonna start reading the book. I haven't gotten to it. So I should start it now, shouldn't I? So that will end the foodie portion of our stream. So let's move on to the reading portion of our stream. Alright. So we will be picking up on reading The LOK, Tommy Rice, and we left off, we finished chapter. So we will be starting information. One. Take a quick break. So I believe we left off with LOK. No, I'm sorry, the paladin having reached city that is seriously very Seattle-like. Shop that had a siren outside hanging from the sign, very Starbucks. And he met someone where a mage he was looking for, so he can find him. His walker is looking for the LOK, or the warlock, is the son of a former king who can unlock Labyrinthian Pass, is the equivalent of fast wormhole travel teleportation in planet. He is not the only one looking for a kid named Lincoln, and Lincoln has been taken by one of the paladins of the former king's late king's guard, hidden him away in some rural town, but because he's a teenager, he can't help himself. He's been showing off his powers, and more than one person has gotten back to raise him. Those are the purple aliens that invaded Partha. They have mounted an attack. I was under the mistaken impression, as they hinted that the former enemy of the Imperium dragons were lurking about, that the shadows that they couldn't see were probably just dragons flying by doing their reconnaissance. But I thought once they found the kid, once they found the city, and it was gonna be mayhem because dragons were gonna swoop in and just burn up the whole place. But no, dragons were, and they actually sent invisible assassins to take out the LOK's guard and get away with the LOK and kidnap them too. Oops. Sorry, I accidentally clicked a button that ran into a panel. So where we left off, they were celebrating. Sorry, I think I had a quick buffer situation. So when we left off, they were celebrating one of his guards, his uncle, I believe, his birthday. And in the middle of that celebration, chaos ensues and they get attacked by the silent assassins, who start murdering everybody. They can't defend themselves. Poor guard can't find Mateus, that was his name. Poor guard can't find the kid because, of course, he's being a kid, going off and doing dumb teenager things. And in the middle of an attack, they can't find him. But hopefully his training have kicked in, so he can try and save himself in the middle. So with that brief recap, let's pick up on chapter 11, the Warship Lord's Wrath. we're in the outskirts of Antstone. The fortress was alight with fire and tracer flashes. The party was in ruin, the guests running for their lives as the Astrals attacked them. The Astrals were the invisible assassins. From high above, cruel eyes watched the carnage play out below. Carnage he had created to fulfill one goal. He was going to get his prize. Nemzer Val, the Iron Knight, stood on the bridge of its cloaked flagship towards Wrath. He saw another explosion and fire in one of the gun towers. Turning from the window of the viewport, he walked through the bridge of the space vessel. Lights reflected off his dark runic armor, his long cape as he walked from Nemzer watched the hologram mid-screen. The Novite monitoring beside him glanced. They have air capability? Yes, my lord. Good. Connect me to Pale. The communications officer nodded and frequency. Pale, what is stalling your advance? After a few seconds, the whisper of the gears, my lord. They have 2 runic heavies, he said with a rasp. We can't break through them. The ex-paladin leading them is proving to be a capable opponent, although I have not engaged personally. The gears were 2 mechanical, kind of like talus in the Greek, man of copper, bronze, I don't know. And I think one of them is actually named Talus as a nod to the Greek mythology. So they had those as 2 sentries running around the camp. Nemzer slowly turned and nodded to the deck officer, watching as he hurried to carry out the unspoken order. I am sending a Xenagogue. He should help your predicament. Thank you, my lord, and the comm off. My lord, your line is open. A huge mass appeared on the hollow screen, with eyes the color of molten. His breathing heavy. Uncontrollable resided in. Xenagogue, go help your brother. Connect me to the forces on the ground. The Novite communications officer nodded, touching the screen. Nemzer addressed the command. I want the LOK bridge. This is the castle. Feel his power inside. I have looked for too long to now. Find him. With that, set off. That little brief stop will run the battle. So we'll see how we do this time around. I don't know that we're necessarily scaled down enough, but we shall do our best. Okay, we have more armored. Alright, let's give you guys some stronghold. And hopefully that will help the armored one. Alright, good luck everybody. Evenly matched, so we have a shot on. Oh, I think we did it. Here we go, yay, congratulations. Been a shame to take long and get those tokens that we deserve. And congratulations, Penelf. Get a lovely musketeer scroll. Ah, give me more shinobi scrolls. I can unlock my shinobi. Yeah, baby. Okay, I placed my shinobi, so I should be placing my paladin. Finish off that quest now. D'Artagnan, oui! Here's my strawberry shortcake paladin. Speaking of paladins, I'll get to Walker, our paladin, in the book soon, I hope. Select this quest for paladins. So get some 50 crowns. Next up will be our eventually we'll get to the next inn. Those assists, 175 assists. I don't think I'll get it in 6, but it's only money. Not as important as getting the scrolls or the skins. The Gothic Bibliophile, welcome back. Let's go back and watch the carnage that is unfolding below the Lord's wrath. Lincoln could see a clear path to the courtyard. He looked over his shoulder at his friends behind him. "On me," he said. "We can make it, just be ready to run." He turned his head back around to go, and staring him in the face, one of the assassins. Lena screamed, and Lincoln jumped, falling back and startled. The astral solidified, and he saw the blade in its dark hand. Lena ran. Creature was faster. It transformed into smoke form and went after her. "No!" Jumping to his feet. His cry alerted other astrals presence, and like a pack of wolves, they descended on the prey. Lincoln yelled as he saw the thing knock Lena to the ground, pulling at her dress, standing over her. He didn't know what to do. His head started swimming, images of his past racing in. He didn't know what they were or meant, and was confused. confusion led to anger. Temper flared, and his anger started to take. He liked a feeling, so he grabbed it. It made his power grow. He could feel it. He focused on it. Watched the thing grab for her. No, you can't take her. Throwing his hand out and releasing energy, not holding anything back. The vile creature reached toward Lena as bluish green light flew from Lincoln's eyes, an outstretched hand facing the astral assassin. Aqua. The thing released an ear-piercing shriek and exploded in a puff of smoke. Icord. The astrals froze. They backed away from him, transforming into solid black creatures, carrying black blades in unnatural runic hands. What Lincoln thought to be a suit was actually flesh, their bodies oily black. It disgusted him. These things don't deserve to live, as his hate inflamed. His eyes alight, channeled his power fists, the light growing around. The astrals were mustering, going to fight, but stopped. Seeing the power this boy had, they realized they were going to die. Lincoln realized it too. Felt their fear, smiled. They tried to flee, they couldn't. He unleashed the light upon them, destroying them, vaporizing. The sun destroys the dark. He was releasing blasts of energy off his body. The astrals were exploding the energy, catching them, leaving a black semicircle. In less than a few seconds, the astrals were. The power sucked back into him and disappeared. Lincoln was sweating and breathing. Looking around, he saw Lena was safe. Then suddenly his eyes rolled back into his head, and he fell to the ground. So our little warlock, Lincoln, used strong powers, not for fun little parlor tricks, but fully, for the first time, uncontrolled. And as we've seen his father in the first few chapters, as well as Walker the Paladin, it takes a very strong physical toll of energy. And he was not prepared for it, but at least he saved the girl and killed the assassins. The instant Lincoln released his power, Nemzor tracked him. That is the boy. Lock onto that signal and bring the one attached to it. The communications officer immediately, quickly tapping the screen in front, not wanting to incite the wrath of his lord. Opening another channel, favored warrior, Nemzor said, Synagogue, go to these coordinates and find the boy. Be mindful of his protector. He is still a danger. Yes, master. Gritted reply. Lincoln was dazed as he landed. Smoke was coming off him in the night air, but he was alive and coming. Matthias, seeing what had just happened, stuck on him. Another squad of Antstone soldiers, led by Sergeant R, close behind. Set a perimeter, the tall sergeant, still dressed with an intricate sword at his waist. The sergeant was muscular, clean-cut, short black hair, that knew The large gear, Talus, had come with him and moved in by Matthias. Its weapon systems clacked together as its offensive and adapted a more defensive scan mode. Matthias was holding Link, carefully picking him off the ground. Matthias was the paladin guard in charge of keeping him safe after the king died. I guess Talus Paris was their mechanical sentries. Lincoln coughed a bit and opened his eyes, trying to look around. "Are you all right, boy?" he asked, pulling him close. "Yes, uncle. Fine." He coughed again, sitting up over Matthias's shoulder, standing above them. The huge battle over them. "Good," Matthias said back. "Can you stand?" Lincoln nodded. Alice was moved past them as Matthias was helping. A flash of light smashed into Talus's side, spinning the 4-ton construct around, knocking it. It fell to a huge armor, collapsing in. Matthias put Lincoln behind him as he tried to figure out where the blast had come from. He watched in astonishment as the thing that had appeared. It was a monstrous, an 8-foot-tall, hulking, jet lacquered chains around his wrists, legs, and waist, stepped from the castle to the armory. The monstrous warrior stared at them with the visor tusked skull faced up. Teeth, talisman, fetishes hung from trophies from other battles, but the beast, obviously, and it has single-edged, archaic looking. On his shoulder was a smoking one of the many advanced laser-type weapons that the race still had. The weapon was an unstable and very powerful at the moment, being pointed right at them. It was this type of weapon called turn. Matthias knew who was being worn, and the condition they were in. It was to try to fight. Namely different species in the late Xenogod was one of the sagest, or orc warlords that commanded and ruled another hierarchy force. The sages were this camp. The warlike race had enslaved the race and took over as their overlord, leading their people against other races and battled to further their bloodlust. They were not left, very powerful, and battle only stronger. Thing had brought more. As he stepped over the wall, legionnaires were filing through the already castle, smashing what was left of the park and capturing any other. Seeing Matthias and Link, smirked. Alec wrath from within. "There you are, up, and your master too. Adele will be a." His deep voice was followed with what could be taken as a laugh. The monster walked chains clinking his arm as he approached with purposeful. Hold, man, Yar commanded. Black marks of the mag crossing his. Matthias pulled Lincoln up. Mac, yelled to the sergeant. Sir, the warrior holding his at the ready. Bolstered by Xenagog, the Astrals started to coming back to Lincoln. Matthias knew to get the young to safety. Get these children out of here, said, pointing to the others I had been. What? No, uncle, I am not going anywhere. Agrius smashed through the wall. One shoulder mounted, aimed at Xenagog. Xenagog turned to me, right when Agrius fired, blasting him. Sages stumbled back under the onslaught, the shots glancing off his armor, driving him. Agrius's weapons sending tracer fire at the anyone else foolish enough to be. Agrius swept the rotocannon around it as it ran. With a rumble of dust and more, Alice rose to its feet, joining its brother Gear. Both laid down fire, cutting Razium soldiers, converging astrals. Runic weapon, any armor, power. Even Xenagog, huge sages, smashing through behind him. Matthias reacted. Mac, all that plan. Listen for my instruction and help control the people. Go, now. Get them out of here. Go. Lincoln will stay with me. Yes, sir. Cardinal. He and his more gears fire. Lena waved gears in her. My voice. I will make this the last. I will finish the last 15 minutes we have left. I take more pause when I'm straight up reading. That's a hard goal. But hey, at least we got that token chest. To his left, Lieutenant came through the breached wall, holding a runic barreled rifle. He was handsome and was in his officer's uniform, though it had been torn in places. He had come shortly after Agri and a small group. They ran low towards Matthias' prizes. Garden Court had been afire. Legionnaires were reinforced the huge sages. Alice opened fire, cutting down legionnaires that tried to enter. He stepped toward the opening to stop any other advance, while Agrius stayed with Matthias and Lincoln. Commander, the lieutenant shouted above the gunfire in the background. We must leave. I have initiated evac procedure 44. All the families that are left are getting out to safety. We are overrun. Matthias heard the sounds of the castle's long guns over his lieutenant. The huge howitzers were firing. The Rasium were attacking from the air, and that didn't bode well with the defenses the way they were. I read your coordinates and was able to get Agrius here, but the castle is lost. The assassin leader is sagist as well. He has no respect for protocols or for parley. He is butchering any he can find. Go, sir. Sir, the lieutenant. Grief was the mask that Matthias wore as he listened. He was thinking. Noises around him gone. The grime and the battle were face, as was the decision he had to make. He looked at Lincoln, and the boy's eyes told him everything. Scared and didn't know what to do. Matthias would protect him. They had to go and had to be saved. Then, realizing he had no other choice, he nodded. Confirm it, Lay. Matthias yelled over the gunfire of the constructs. Yes, get everyone out. Scramble any pilots we have left. Get them to their plane. Lieutenant, follow the fallback plan. You can still write it, Suyan. You have a very interesting life going back and forth from the Philippines. You have a lot of stories of travel and food. Lakai nodded and ordered the small unit he had with him back toward the castle. Alice, Riscon, to the armory. Meet at docking bay 4 by the lamp. Alice stopped firing and scanned the area. All threats contained. Copy order. Alec voice cracked over Matthias right. Gun sliding up as it met on its way. Matthias quickly looked around the area for the zenith. Damn, he said. Agrius with me. Let's go, Lincoln. That big thing is still out there. Lincoln replied, frightened. What is that thing, Uncle? Something we don't want. I will explain later. Agrius was getting peppered with small arms fire. It stepped back, its cannons roaring to life again, covering them as they moved toward the armory, Skyland. From there, they would go to the tank levels or board the ship itself. It was the best way they had to followed as they made. Agrius made sure the sky was getting brighter. Morning was. The door slid open, and Matthias, bringing Lincoln. Agrius was standing outside beside the sky airship, four-track tanks. Behind it, the train was readying to hoist. Agrius was giving cover as her fast run into the. Matthias's officers had given orders for how to break out of this death trap they were in. All available were to go to their flyers, cars, and tanks, anything that fast, and wait for the signal. Night while Matthias had taken Lincoln into the ship. Looking down at him, Matthias smiled. Buckle up and get ready. We will outrun them, as he stood, trying to calm the still rattled boy. A young blonde soldier had Matthias. Lincoln knew him. Saul. He was one of the twins that had recently been inducted into Matthias's guard. He sat down as well. Hey, don't worry. Everything is going to be alright, Saul said, seeing Lincoln's face. Matthias nodded. That's right. Rest here, okay? Lincoln nodded. Saul here will keep company and check your health. Matthias nodded at the doctor. He was about to leave when over the calm, hoarse voice came on. Sir, they have launched hover blades. Need to move. I'll be back, he said to Lincoln, gripping his hand. The boy didn't want to go. Don't worry, I'm not leaving. They locked eyes. Okay, should I let him go? Matthias touched the control pad, and the door slid open. I'll be right back, said as it closed. Yeah, those are famous last words. Alice's rotocannon slowed as the barrels were. The Antstone's shoulders, standing next to huge gear, waited to see what, if anything, was left. The construct and the squad were gotten held up by a legionnaire counter before they had reached the armory. They had taken casualties as they found out, but they had made setting a defensive perimeter orders of evacuation. The rest of the castle had fared no better, though the soldiers of Antstone had fought valiantly through the carnage and surprise. They barely had enough time to get their weapons. Most still wore their uniform or dress clothes from the evening. The Rasium had gone to ground now. The Rasium had the ground now, and the air was swiftly being taken by well. The thick armored planes of the Federation had scrapped earlier, taking the fight to the air. They were few, but were trying to buy some time ground aid. The Rampart long guns were helping as well, but the Rasium technology was too great. They had countered, sending hover blades to stall the retreat. Hover blades were small, 1 to 3 man crafts that had the capability to close in and target quickly. They had small for weapons, but the long port and stern blades used to rend armor and flesh they were known for. They could fit in most places on the ground, and that allowed them great use. Small crafts had already taken a toll on the populace of ants and had begun harrying armories stopped So the dogged Skylands was using its net guns to support and was keeping them at bay. Matthias sat in the command. Sergeant bore at the steering console. With a flip of a switch, Matthias opened doors. He could hear the rumble of Skylands' engines and the battle tanks below it revving their engines, readying for the breakout. Matthias knew that Procedure 44 was an action that no one did, but it was a necessity. It would break them up into small units that would lead the enemy away from them. Different directions, hopefully allowing the prince time to escape. He wanted to fight these interlopers to kill them all. May the future of the kingdom and of all kingdoms of Partha rested with the boy he had with him. Looked at the intercom button, knowing his soldiers and his people were listening. Gathering himself, he held the button down as he spoke. My friends, comrades, brothers, and sisters, if you are hearing this, get to your designated areas. Please hurry. Pause. I want you to know I have enjoyed the privilege of serving with you all. The time we feared has finally, and the Creator has seen fit to start us on our journey. We have trained for this, know what to do and where. The biplanes will give us cover fire from the air as we go. Listen to the howitzers. We'll cover our paths until we are clear. I will see all of you again, or in the afterlife. Be careful, be safe, and run fast. May the Creator protect and guide you. This will be forever of the day we took our country back. Commander Matthias, Lane, out. He turned off the comm. Or, it is out of here, he said to the big sergeant in the cockpit. Or gave the signal. But that will bring us to the middle, chapter 11, page 123. We still have a few more pages, but I'm gonna fit together long enough, and our last battle is ready to be run. Thank you, Gothic Bibliophile, and all Neon Halo. Hey, Minase, Ontath, Gatterboy. Sorry, you can't say your name. Hexcut Community Ball. Second Son. Isn't that Game of Thrones? The Second Sons. Lucinda and Chad, 8472. Let's go with some Stronghold. Good. Turn it closer. Down. Okay. Good luck, everybody. Numbers are on our sides, I'm hoping. Good, only 3 more to go. more. Yay! We has won our very last battle. Alright, random. Congratulations, Penal. Get yourself a nice vampire scroll, and on top, get 2 scrolls. Alright, so that leaves us 2 more battles on the last campaign, so we have to do these offline out the week. Oh no, I think raid target. We done. But no, she's still streaming. Okay, good. So we should be good for right now. She's been going for almost 5 hours. Hi, Logos Siva. You caught us just as we're about to raid out. If you are subscribed, this set of notes and calls if you are subscribed and have the amount. Thank you. See you soon as well. You can grab those with my cute little turtle and pineapple and alright, so I am gonna be gone Saturday, so no stream Saturday. El Salvador for a week. I will be flying in the following weekend. I will not be streaming then. So according to the clock calendar, I will be back Friday the 18th February. There may be a special stream on or post Valentine. I don't know yet. If I have it, I will post it on my schedule for a very special Valentine's drop on 14th, the 15th, and the 16th. So 14th and 15th, Stream Leaders will be running exclusive channel drops, but on the 16th, anybody you watch with Stream Raiders that has dropped me, get you that. But if I'm not able to stream on one of those days, on or post Valentine, I will be back on for Saturday the And as I started the edition last stream, it is time to close our stream. Yeah. So why not get to closing time? Yeah. So thanks a lot for keeping company tonight, and gute Nacht, bis bonsoir or bonjour if you right, everybody.
Hey, thanks for your duet. So I thought I'd sing back. Fun fact about this song, I tried to audition in a band with that playing the piano. My piano was so shitty and I couldn't play good either, so it wasn't taken. Closing time, Open all the doors and let you out into the world. Closing time. Turn all of the lights on over every boy and every girl. Closing time. One last ask for alcohol. Just finish your whiskey or beer. Closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can stay here.
I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. Take me home. Closing time. Time for you to go out to the places you will be from. Closing time. This room won't be open till your brothers or your sisters come. So gather up your jackets, move it to the exits. I hope you have found a friend. Closing time. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Yeah. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. Take me home.
By the way, I'm very happy they didn't take me. Because that I started playing theater and I really loved it. So from every bad thing in life, something good will arise. Closing time. Time for you to go out to the places you will be from.
I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. Take me home.
I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. Take me home.
Closing time. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end.
Thank you very much. Bye.